Thinning hair after 60 isn't just common, it's deeply personal. One day you wake up, and your once full hair feels lighter, flatter, and somehow harder to manage. You try parting it differently, brushing it a little more gently, even skipping mirrors altogether. If that sounds familiar, take a breath, you're not the only one, and you haven't done anything wrong. But here's the truth most women aren't told. It's not just thinning that's the issue, it's how we've been styling it, often out of habit or fear of standing out. And those habits, they can be quietly making things worse. But don't worry, this isn't about giving up or hiding under hats. With just a few smart, subtle shifts, your hair can look and feel fuller, softer, and effortlessly elegant. No teasing, no harsh sprays, no outdated tricks, just gentle, proven steps tailored specifically for the beauty and texture of mature hair. This is Ageless Style for women over 60, the place where we honor your beauty, experience, and confidence. If you believe that looking and feeling radiant has nothing to do with age and everything to do with grace, self-care, and the right guidance, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and let's redefine beauty together. Meet Velda. Yes, Velda. It's not a name you hear every day, and she's not a woman you'd forget. She's 67, sharp as ever, with a wit that could light up a room, but for a long time, that light was hidden behind layers of self-doubt. You wouldn't know it by looking at her now, but there was a time she wouldn't leave the house without a scarf wrapped just so, or a hat pulled low over her brow. It wasn't style, it was strategy, disguise. Her hair, once her favorite feature, had become a quiet source of frustration. Not because it was gray, she actually liked that part. It was the thinning, the way it no longer held a shape, the way it clung to her scalp some days no matter how she brushed it. She'd stand in front of the mirror and tug at the ends, trying to coax volume from nothing. She tried curling irons, rollers, even an expensive root powder promising miracles. Nothing stuck except the feeling that maybe this was just part of getting old. But deep down, Velda didn't buy that. Not completely. One afternoon, while folding laundry, she overheard her granddaughter say something that stopped her cold. "Grandma always wears hats because she doesn't like how she looks." Oof. Out of the mouths of babes. But that one sentence lit a fire in her, because it wasn't just about hair anymore. It was about how she saw herself and how she was letting that image shrink with time. Velda made a decision that day not to fight aging, but to reclaim her reflection. She didn't run out and get a makeover. She didn't spend thousands at a salon. What she did was far simpler and far more powerful. She made 4 small changes. Nothing dramatic, nothing drastic, but each one gently peeled back the layers she'd been hiding behind. And those scarves, she still wears them, but now, only when she wants to, not because she needs to. Today, Velda wears her silver strands with quiet pride. Her hair is still thin, that hasn't magically changed, but how she styles it, how she carries it, has. And the difference is night and day. You deserve that same transformation, not for anyone else, but for you. So let's walk through those 4 shifts, one by one, because your reflection should feel like a friend, not a stranger. And it starts with how you see yourself in the mirror, and how your hair makes you feel. Step 1. Ditch the puff and embrace the soft layer cut. Let's be honest, when your hair starts thinning, your first instinct might be to fight back with volume. Tease it, flip it, spray it until it stands at attention. For decades, that old-school volume trick, the big puff on top, was seen as the go-to fix for fine or thinning hair. It was quick, it was dramatic, it was a little desperate, and while it might have worked once upon a time, especially in the era of hairspray clouds and bigger is better, it's now doing more harm than good. Here's the truth. Stacking volume at the crown doesn't disguise thinning hair, it spotlights it. The stiff, overly styled helmet look actually draws attention to where hair is missing, especially if the sides are flat or the texture is too rigid. It creates an unnatural silhouette, which can age your face and highlight the contrast between full and sparse areas. Let's think about Velda again. One of her old habits was curling the front of her hair into a dramatic swoop, pinning it, then blasting it with spray to keep it in place. It looked neat, but not natural. When she looked at herself, she didn't feel elegant. She felt like she was wearing a costume. And worse, she constantly worried about wind, weather, or anything that could collapse the puff. So she made a bold and beautiful change. She asked her stylist for a soft layer cut, nothing extreme, no pixie, no drama, just long, feathered layers around her face and crown. The result? Her hair started to move again. It caught the light. It framed her cheekbones and opened up her eyes. It created the illusion of fullness, without actually needing a lot of hair. Why does this work so well for women over 60? Because soft layers aren't about age, they're about shape, and mature faces often benefit from a little lift and softness around the jaw and cheeks. Layers create gentle volume, help camouflage thinning areas, and add flow and texture without needing heavy product or heat tools. A good stylist will know how to customize the cut to your hair type, whether your strands are straight, wavy, or somewhere in between. Ask for movement. Ask for balance. You want layers that fall naturally and require minimal fuss. And here's a tip. Bringing a photo helps, but don't choose a celebrity 30 years younger. Choose a cut that feels like you, just a more confident version. Remember, embracing layers isn't about chasing youth, it's about choosing softness, movement, and ease. You've earned that. It's not a trend, it's smart styling. Let go of the puff and make space for the natural grace of your hair to shine through. Step 2. Stop overwashing, start nourishing. For years, women like Velda believed one golden rule when it came to hair: the cleaner, the better. Washing every single day was a ritual. It felt refreshing, responsible, even necessary. But what no one told her, or so many other women, is that what works in your 30s doesn't always serve you in your 60s. As we age, our bodies change, and so does our scalp. Oil production slows down, the hair shaft becomes finer, and our follicles grow more delicate. Daily washing, especially with harsh shampoos, doesn't keep hair fresh. It strips away the very oils your scalp needs to keep hair strong, soft, and resilient. That squeaky clean feeling, it might actually be a sign of over-cleansing, and that's a silent saboteur of already thinning hair. Velda was dealing with exactly that. She noticed her hair getting drier, more brittle. She started buying deep conditioners and hydrating masks, but the real issue was at the root. Literally, she was cleansing too often, and with products that weren't formulated for mature scalps. Once she shifted her routine, everything changed. Here's the new approach, and it's gentler, smarter, and made for women over 60. First, reduce how often you wash. 2 to 3 times per week is ideal for most mature women. This gives your natural oils time to nourish the scalp and coat each strand, giving your hair more softness, shine, and flexibility. Next, choose a shampoo that respects your scalp. Look for sulfate-free formulas that cleanse without stripping. Bonus if they include ingredients like biotin, panthenol, or aloe vera, which support scalp health and encourage strength. Now, let's talk about something most women skip: the scalp massage. Just 60 seconds of gentle, circular motion while you wash can do wonders. Not only does it feel amazing, but it also stimulates blood flow, which supports hair growth and overall scalp vitality. You don't need fancy tools, your fingertips are perfect. After cleansing, don't forget to hydrate. But instead of heavy conditioners that weigh fine hair down, try a lightweight leave-in conditioner or nourishing mist. These give your strands moisture and a touch of body, without greasiness or build-up. Velda also added one more game-changer to her routine: a weekly pre-wash scalp oil treatment. Just a few drops of argan or jojoba oil massaged into the scalp 30 minutes before washing. It made her scalp feel soothed, and her hair started to look healthier, not just cleaner. The bottom line: clean doesn't mean stripped, and healthy hair, especially past 60, is more about care than control. Less is often more, and nourishing from the scalp outward creates beauty that no shampoo commercial can fake. Velda's hair didn't magically grow thicker overnight, but within weeks of adjusting her routine, it looked healthier, more alive, and most importantly, it made her feel more like herself again. And that's the kind of clean we're after. Step 3. Avoid flat, one-tone colors. Let's talk about color not just as a style choice, but as a secret weapon for thin, aging hair. Most women over 60 have spent decades coloring their hair in some form, from covering grays in their 40s to experimenting with low-maintenance hues in their 50s. And by the time 60 hits, it's easy to fall into a routine. Pick a box, apply all over, keep it simple, but that simplicity might be stealing more from your look than you realize. Flat, one-tone hair color, especially in darker shades like chestnut brown, espresso, or jet black, has a tendency to fall, well, flat. It may look bold on the box, but on thinning hair, it can make strands look limp, heavy, and almost painted on. Why? Because with no variation in tone, the hair loses dimension. There's no light play, no shadow, no natural movement. Everything blends into one visual block, and that can actually highlight the areas where volume is missing. Velda learned this the hard way. For years, she clung to a single tone dye, thinking it was helping her look put together. But in pictures, she started to notice how harsh it looked. Her hairline seemed thinner, her features more washed out, and her hair lacked the softness she remembered. It wasn't until she visited a new stylist, one who specialized in mature hair, that she discovered the magic of dimension. Instead of recoloring everything, the stylist suggested something simple, just a few face-framing highlights, soft tones in warm honey and champagne, feathered in around her temples and crown. Within one appointment, Velda's hair looked brighter, fuller, and more alive. The best part, it didn't scream, "I got my hair done." It whispered, "I take care of myself." So here's what works best for women with fine or thinning hair. Dimension. This doesn't mean bleach or extreme contrasts. It means adding layers of tone that reflect light and give the illusion of depth. Think lowlights and highlights blended subtly, not chunky streaks, but soft ribbons of color that mimic natural sunlight. And if you've embraced your silver or white strands, bravo! But even natural gray benefits from tonal variation. Adding silvery ash lowlights or soft pearlescent glosses can make gray hair look luxurious and intentional, not dull or yellowed. Avoiding harsh, dark all-over colors isn't about shying away from boldness. It's about choosing strategic softness that flatters your features, lifts your complexion, and brings your hair back to life even if there's less of it. Velda says it best, "I stopped chasing youth and started choosing radiance." That mindset shift, along with a bit of color magic, gave her hair not just beauty, but presence. And when your hair has presence, even in its gentlest form, it reminds the world, and yourself, that you are still full of life and style. Step 4. Switch to lightweight styling products. Let's face it, most of us grew up in a world where styling meant control. The stronger the gel, the stiffer the mousse, the better, right? But here's the irony. For mature, thinning hair, those very products we once trusted are now doing the exact opposite of what we need. That was Velda's dilemma. After she transitioned to a softer haircut and stopped overwashing, she still struggled with one thing: volume that lasted. Every morning, she'd layer on a thick mousse, smooth in a little gel, and give her roots a quick blast with the dryer. For about an hour, things looked good. Then by lunchtime, it was like her hair had given up. Flat, heavy, tired, and the worst part, the more product she used, the flatter it seemed to fall. The problem wasn't her hair, it was what she was putting on it. Here's what no one tells you. Fine, mature hair is like delicate silk. You can't weigh it down with thick products and expect it to float. Heavy gels, waxes, and even some traditional mousses coat the hair shaft, reducing natural movement and making the hair stick to the scalp, exactly what we don't want. The solution is a total styling philosophy shift. Light touch, smart lift. Velda swapped out her old products for a root-lifting spray specifically designed for fine hair. Not the kind that leaves behind a sticky film, but the kind that evaporates cleanly, giving support without stiffness. And here's the technique that changed everything. She applied the product only at the roots while the hair was damp, flipped her head upside down, and dried it gently on low heat. Why does this work so well? When you blow dry upside down, gravity becomes your friend. It lifts the roots naturally while the light product holds them in place without gluing them flat. Once dry, she'd flip her hair back, use her fingers, not a brush, to gently shape it, and voila! lifted, natural, touchable hair that stayed that way. Another bonus tip, try using a texturizing spray or dry volumizing powder at the crown on day 2 or 3. These products are light as air but create separation and fullness without buildup. And always avoid silicone-heavy serums. They might shine, but they also seal the hair too tightly, making it limp and lifeless over time. Velda's new styling routine takes less time, uses fewer products, and gives her hair more body than she had a decade ago. Best of all, it feels like her hair, not a shellacked version of it. And now, I want to hear from you. Have you tried any of these techniques? Or maybe you have your own secret for keeping thinning hair soft, full, and fabulous. Share it in the comments because your experience could be exactly the encouragement another beautiful woman needs today. Together, we learn. Together, we lift roots and spirits. Velda didn't grow her hair back overnight, but what she did grow was far more powerful than a few extra strands. She grew presence. She grew self-respect. She grew the quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need approval or apology. When she stopped fixating on what her hair wasn't, she started embracing what it was, uniquely hers. Soft, silvery, a little finer than it used to be, but no less beautiful. It took 4 small shifts in how she cared for and styled it. But those shifts led to something bigger. Velda no longer reached for the hat. When someone knocked at the door, she no longer angled herself away from mirrors. She stood taller, she smiled more, and she realized this phase of life isn't about covering up. It's about coming into your own. Thinning hair is part of aging, yes, but it is not the full picture. It doesn't write your story unless you let it. What defines your beauty is not the volume of your hair. It's the grace with which you wear it. It's the thoughtfulness in how you style it, the softness you choose to show yourself, and the wisdom that lets you say, "This is me, and I am enough." So if any part of Velda's story sounds like your own, if you've stood in the bathroom tugging at strands or avoiding the wind, please know you're not alone. And you don't need a dramatic makeover to feel like yourself again. You need care, you need strategy, and most of all, you need to believe that beauty hasn't passed you by, it's evolving with you. Whether it's layering your haircut for movement, switching to a gentler wash routine, choosing flattering tones that bring out the sparkle in your eyes, or simply using lighter products to let your natural texture shine, each of these is a way of saying, I'm worth the effort. I'm worth the softness. I'm worth being seen. So now, I invite you to take just one of these steps and try it. See how you feel. Give your reflection a second glance, not to critique, but to appreciate. And if this video gave you even one idea to feel more like you again, let it ripple out. Give it a like. Subscribe to Ageless Style for women over 60. And please share it with someone you care about. A sister, a friend, your mother, someone who may have forgotten just how radiant she is. Because beauty isn't behind you, it's with you. And there's no expiration date on elegance. You are never too old or too thin-haired to feel luminous, lifted, and alive.